Everyone. This is Anurag Jain. I am a developer advocate and product manager with Alice Group. In this series, in the last video, we saw how we can set up Strapi, a content management system, as well as a front end UI layer, plus Thales Data Protection Gateway, all on a Kubernetes cluster. And we saw how putting Thales Data Protection Gateway can protect the API endpoints which carry the sensitive information. In this video today, we are going to, and this is the second part out of the three. So, in this video today, we are going to see how we can configure data protection gateway to work with our application. So, this is the setup which I created on my local VirtualBox. There is a separate video which you can watch on the channel, how to set up CipherTrust Manager on VirtualBox. So this is a locally running instance of CipherTrust Manager for me, and this is where I have configured my application so that the data protection gateway can apply the correct protection and reveal policies using the keys which are again configured on CipherTrust Manager. And again, I'm using the community edition of CipherTrust Manager, which is a free forever tool, and it does come with 3 licenses of data protection gateway which you can use for free. So going back to our original setup, so I have opened Postman. So this is how Strapi APIs look like. So if you remember, we created a content type for patients, and the data which we were sending was something like this. So we were sending some sensitive information or personal information about a patient as well as some of his medical history. And we saw how using data protection gateway some of that sensitive information can be protected. So if you have a close look, so API patients, this is an API endpoint which is exposed by Strapi itself. So for whatever content type you create, it does create a post endpoint and a get endpoint by default. So if you look at the schema looks something like this: the request schema for the post API. So the request looks something like this. So you create a high level field which is data, and in this data field you have various key value attributes, including the name, surname, contact information, and other information related to the patient. Similarly, when I run a get, if you see the output of get, again I get a data array which contains another field which is attributes. In this attribute field, it returns all the fields which have been stored by Strapi. So these are the two API endpoints that we are going to protect using data protection gateway. So, if I go back to Cypher Trust Manager, if I go into application data protection, that's where DPG or data protection gateway is hosted. So, these are the fields or these are the things that you can configure for your data protection gateway client. So, you need to provide things like protection policy and access policy. Before going into it, I will, show a couple of more things. So, how data protection gateway works is it basically intercepts any REST call that you make through your client. It can be a UI client or it can be a Postman client, but it intercepts any request. And then, based on the policies that you have put, it protects or reveals the data. But to reveal, data protection gateway needs to understand, okay, what is the user set for which you want to perform some type of action, and what is a different user set for you for which you want to do a different operation. So in my case, I have configured two user sets. One is patients, another one is practitioners. And in patients, I have all these users. So if you remember from the last demo, I was using patient 1, patient 2 as my username. That's because I have configured my DPG in a way that for all these users, I want my data back in plain text. And if the user come under the user set practitioners, and the username is nurse, as you remember from the last demo, so for this the data has to be protected or encrypted. And how all these things come into picture? Through access policies. So in access policy, you define different rules for different user set. So I created a rule which is like, for the user sets, the users in patients user set, Reveal type is plain text. For practitioners, reveal type is ciphertext, and the default is ciphertext. So if anyone else, logs in and tries to get the information, he will always receive ciphertext as the output. So it will be an encrypted value. And you can go ahead and define these kind of user set rules by yourself, or you can create a new access policy from scratch, and this is what it will ask for, right? So if I give some name to it, so it will ask what is the user set rule you want to apply. So I can say, okay, patient plain text, and then practitioner, and I want to show something like a ciphertext. I can also show masked value. I will add another demo for masked value, but right now let's keep it ciphertext. And again, it will ask for the default reveal format, which I'm going to leave as ciphertext, and then that's it. It will give you a complete summary, and from there it will create a similar kind of access policy. Similarly, protection policy, you can define a protection policy that any incoming data, you want to protect that information using this particular algorithm, the key that you have created, the character sets for this, on which this particular protection policy will work, what type of algorithm you want to use, if you want to add any tweaks. So you can define these things while creating your protection policy. The main thing comes at the application level, so that's where we define all the rules. So I can go and say, let's call it HIPAA, and if I press next, this is, if you remember, 9006 was the port that I used for my data protection gateway. So that is where data protection gateway will work. Okay. And here you define the policies. Okay. For example, if my API endpoint is something like this, API patients, I can go ahead and say API patients, and then in post, I can start adding tokens. And token will be something like, if I want to protect the contact number, I can just take the contact number here, and I would put data dot contact number here, and I will say protect this with the protection policy which I created. So I can just go ahead and create a similar kind of rules, similar kind of tokens for my post. I can also define like get, and I will show you what I have created in my original example. So if you see here, for the post, I protected data dot name, data dot surname, and those things. And for reveal, the get API, I am defining something like a JSON kind of a mapping or path. So if you remember from the Postman output, the output of the get API is a data array, and for all elements in data array, I want to go to attributes and I want to reveal name. So similar kind of schema here. So data, and then a dot all dot attributes dot name, and then reveal. You can just say reveal is using my access policy, HIPAA access policy, and that's pretty much it. If you create an application like this, it will give you a registration token back, and you can use the same registration token while creating your Kubernetes deployment file with data protection gateway in it. So hope you like this. I mean, this is it that you need to do to make this whole magic of encryption and data protection and data reveal work. You just define these policies, and with the registration token that has been obtained, you can provide that registration token to your DPG container as an environment variable, along with the destination URL and the Cipher Trust Manager or the KMS IP, and it should work out of the box without you requiring to make any code changes to actually protect those JSON fields or actually reveal those fields based on user access policies. I hope you liked it. In the next and the final part, I'm going to do all these configurations through Ansible using the CipherTrust Ansible collection. And we will see how we can automate all of these things as part of your DevOps cycle. Stay tuned till then. And if you like, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel for all these contents. Thank you again.